Boom and Happy New Year, everybody. It's Ring Respect Radio time. It's Thursday night, and it's the 1st of January, 2026. My name is Bobby Munson, and the man sitting beside me, he's the man with the angelic voice. His name is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, Happy New Year. How you doing, brother?
Well, that was a long one, Munson, and a really good one, and the first big introduction of 2026. Glad to be here on another Thursday night. It is January 1st. We're kicking off 2026. And Munson, what should we talk about? Maybe the whole past year?
I'm thinking that's a damn good idea, Papa Smokes. We had a lot of great fun in 2025, whether it be with what we did here on the show, what we promoted here on the show, or whether it be the wonderful world of Prairie Pro Wrestling. You know, that you and I dug ourselves in deep into this indie wrestling thing, and that, boy, we are going to be bringing everybody a good conversation about what our favorite things were this year. Let's just quickly say, yes, Happy New Year. Zach is in the chat. Prairie Pro Wrestling. Stop by to wish us Happy New Year. And, of course, this man right here. It's a Happy New Year. I think that one's directed just to Pop Smokes. Oh, here we go. Ed Munson, too. Happy New Year, Ed. Appreciate you, my friend. And look who it is. It's the Mangler showing up. Happy New Year, Mangler. Happy New Year, gentlemen, says the Mangler. Oh, man, Papa Smokes, it's been quite the holiday season so far. It's been very festive, been full of good food, full of good drinks, full of good times with good friends, as always. It's been one hell of a time. But, yes, I am glad that you and I get to officially kick off the new year, the first of the year, right here on OLE Podcast and the Video Bros Network with Ring Respect Radio. We've been fortunate enough to hit a lot of the big times this time. Like we slid right in there with, you know, having the Christmas time and the New Year's time this time around. And it's a Happy New Year and hey as well too. Astrid joining us in the house. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for being here and Happy New Year to you and your family. But yeah, Pop Smokes, having these big monumental ones. I know we didn't go live last week, but it was still pretty cool that everybody showed some love and respect towards us doing a pre-record for them to release on Christmas Day.
Very cool because everybody's busy. We know about that at Christmas time. The jobs get busy. The social life gets busy. Munson, we even had the opportunity to have a little fun and festive drinks and food just a few nights ago, Munson. Wasn't that awesome up here in Saskatoon? You got to try out a new place right on Broadway, and what a good time that was.
Oh, it's a phenomenal time, Papa Smokes. Yes, good food, good friends, as I mentioned. It was one of the best nights that we had out this holiday season, in fact. And Paradox Pizza, shout out to them. I know you've done the shout out here on the show before. A major shout out to our good friends over at Paradox Pizza. And this is not a sponsorship. This is just us letting you know, if you're in Saskatoon, check them out. They do some damn fine food over there. And the drinks as well. Top notch, Papa Smokes. What a night.
Oh yeah, good stuff. And you know they have that special beer there called Champagne. Ooh, isn't that good stuff? And that pizza pie, man. We really went to town on that. Talking about wrestling, talking about friends and family and good times throughout the year. I love it, and I hope all the listeners out there have been having a good time doing that too.
Yeah, you bet. And we're going to say it right now here, Papa Smokes. Let's just kick it off with, if you haven't heard already, tickets are on sale for the yet unnamed Prairie Pro Wrestling first show of 2026. We'll just call it the February show for now until official name and poster come out. But tickets did go on sale for Saturday, February the 21st. And I'll tell you, Papa Smokes, people are very given this time of year. A lot of big ticket purchases for the seats at the very first Prairie Pro Wrestling show of 2026. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I remember correctly, we were told that we are getting that title match of Jacob Creed and Michael Allen Richard Clark.
Oh yeah, that's got all kinds of heat around it too. And we saw the kind of lead up to that at Seasons Beatings. And another thing about Seasons Beatings is that I talked to a whole bunch of fans after that. There were a number of first-time PPW viewers at that show, a bunch that I heard about, and all the reviews were spectacular afterwards. You know, there's nothing I like better than a first-timer, Munson, especially out at PPW. And I love it when people come to see, they have their friends recommend it or their family recommend it. They come by the show, they come to see with their own eyes. And everybody's surprised at the quality of wrestling and the presentation of the show that comes up. It's really the best endorsement you can get is from those people that have never really been to a live wrestling show, or not one that isn't in the arena, the giant arena where you're sitting way up in the seats. No, this is right down in the action, meters away from the action. You get to see it all. And I'm loving the positive reviews that have been coming out from Seasons Beatings. Great stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, let's kick things off, Pops, folks. Let's talk Prairie Pro Wrestling. Let's talk about what you and I thought was the best overall show of the entire year from Prairie Pro Wrestling. So I want to start it off by saying that it would be easy to pick the Ring of Horrors. I mean, the Ring of Horrors, it's the big show of the year. You know, that cage match is undeniably one of the strongest moments of the entire year. Yet, I got to greedily say that Los Slamtos holds a little bit more special to me, Papa Smokes, because it was really, like, breaking down the fourth wall, my opportunity to have some sort of involvement. I know it was me getting kicked and getting knocked over and everything, but not only being involved in that moment for me, but it was also that moment in general, because there was this whole thought of like, will this work? Will having these two completely not get their hands on each other in this supposed main event, would this work? Would this have a negative effect from the audience? And the audience soaked it up. Like, it worked like a damn, Papa Smokes. It was a risk, yet it was a good risk. And I think Los Slamtos paid off in the end for that risk.
Well, first of all, I don't know what you're talking about a fourth wall, Munson. This is all, I don't understand this part at all, but also a great show. I also liked when you got your head kicked off and then you were wearing a neck brace for the next couple of weeks after that. Hilarious to me because your mouth got you into that problem, as it always does. And I can say this now because you're clearly okay afterwards. However, I did a lot of thinking about the past year of PPW. I looked at all the shows, I rewatched a few of the matches, and yes, they're all good. There are moments in all of those shows that are so good. A lot of moments, but a lot of it built up to Seasons Beatings for me. It was huge. It was a massive show. It had that magic feeling around it, and Seasons Beatings for me was really kind of the pinnacle of the year in PPW. But go on, let's hear some more.
Okay, well, let's talk about what we thought was the best overall match then, because it doesn't necessarily have to be from our favorite show necessarily, but favorite match overall throughout the entire year. I mean, to me, this could go a multitude of ways. Again, easy to pick that cage match. In fact, that cage match, I think undeniably is the big moment match for Prairie Pro Wrestling through the year. But I was inclined to say that the matches between the Short Kings and Paralira were some of my favorite overall wrestling matches from Prairie Pro Wrestling this year.
Yeah, I can't take that away. Those were some of the best matches. Short Kings always bring it every time. Just such a talented tag team. But again, you say it's easy to pick the cage match, but it's also, yes, it is easy because the whole year built up to that. That tension between El Assassino and Michael Allen Richard Clark had been brewing for so long. And it was in the backs of all the fans' minds and in the back of my mind the whole time, just where is this going? What kind of tumultuous climax is this going to come to? We knew eventually that it was going to be at the year end, at the Ring of Horrors show, the big show of the year. Sorry, I'm talking about Ring of Horrors here, not Seasons Beatings, but Ring of Horrors with the cage match. Yeah. That's PPW's Mania. That's our big show of the year, and that's the one that really just, it had that feeling about it. All the fans were excited. You could feel it an hour before the show. All the fans outside, the smiles, the talking, the nervousness of everybody. It was there. All the boys and the crew and the staff and everything in the back. Everybody had that nervous jitter to them because this is the big match. And then do you remember the intermission or halftime, as I like to call it. It's not halftime like in a football game, but the intermission where they're just constructing the cage. And there were people, of course, doing the regular PPW thing, as I like to do also. Go outside, have a puff, talk to some other fans, make the rounds, talk to everybody. So many fans meet each other out there for the first time, myself included. I meet so many people out there at halftime. It's such a great time. But then watching them constructing this unforgiving cage of steel, and you could see that some fans, especially some of the young kids, were just sitting back in their chairs watching this like, oh my God, this is serious business. This isn't just the ring that we're normally used to. They're putting up a wall of sharp cage steel fence all the way around. This is going to keep the two wrestlers in, and it's going to keep anybody that wants to come in and interfere out. So therefore, all this build, all this tension, all the pain, all the sneak attacks, all the back jumping came up to this one moment, this cage match. We're going to lock two wrestlers in and let them solve their problems. It's barbaric when you think of it, right? I mean, it's favoring brute strength to deal with problems over diplomacy and verbal negotiation. Yeah, PPW ain't about that, man. Lock them in a cage and get them to iron out their differences. Get one man to win and one man to submit at the end of it to the power. And it's just it was unlike any other moment in PPW's history. It had the build, it had the tension, everything up to that moment. To me, that's the match of the year. That might be the match of all of PPW, in my opinion.
That's a fair assessment, Papa Smokes, and every right to say it. Before I go any further, want to give a shout out to Blair from Great Waker Wrestling Podcast, also on the commentary team man. For Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, who I know, Papa Smokes, without even looking at your list, is going to come up here in conversation tonight throughout the night. But Blair, amazing job that you've done with your show, along with Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, and all the best to you in the new year, my friend.
Love your stuff, man. Thank you.
Yeah, big fans. So going on from there, Papa Smokes, talking about the best matches that we have there. What about if we were to go ahead and pick the best overall wrestler that we had in Prairie Pro Wrestling? Who was the best featured wrestler throughout the entire year? This could be a singles wrestler, could be a tag team. It doesn't matter what you pick here. And if we're going on just the most important person to Prairie Pro Wrestling in the last year, let's not deny it, was El Asesino in order to carry on the feud that led to the cage match. I can't deny that for a second, but I still got to give it, in terms of wrestling, I'm going to go with the Short Kings, man. The Short Kings held those belts. They're the first champs, still not beaten for those tag titles. I mean, they are on a run of a lifetime with defending those things. They put in match after match. They put in extra time with the stuff in the summertime as well, too. For me, on the PPW side, the absolute best of the year was the Short Kings.
Oh, that's a fine pick, Munson. I can't argue with that in the least. Since they've come to PPW, I don't think they were the tag team when they first arrived. Mars the Specialist and Thickness Reed Matthews were wrestling as singles for a little bit at the first there. Yeah, thanks, Blair. Then they became the Short Kings. They've been completely dominant. Not only are they dominant in the ring and just getting those wins and getting the fans behind them, but look what they've done with those tag team championships. But they're also so popular. I mean, that takes something to really reach the fans, reach the hearts of the fans, from the little kids to the adults to the old people. Everyone loves the Short Kings. That's not easy to do. And they've run through PPW, through that tag team division. They've beaten everybody at this point. So in the future, what is next for them? We don't know. We know that Paralira is hot on their trail. We know that the Brotherhood is hot on their trail. We know that Team Richter is on their trail as well. We don't know about the Clandestine Society. They don't seem to be active as a tag team at this point, at least in PPW. But can't Can't deny your pick, Munson. The Short Kings have done absolutely great work in PPW this year. That's a fine pick.
Yeah. How about for yourself, Pop Smokes? Who was the best?
Okay, well, you might find this, or some viewers might find this slightly controversial, but I'm giving Wrestler of the Year for PPW to an up-and-comer, a guy that is the future of the company. That is Marvelous Morris Waltz.
Wow.
Okay, his win-loss record isn't sterling silver. It isn't perfect. It isn't totally awesome. However, the improvements that this guy has made over the past couple of years, but particularly this year, has just been nothing short of amazing. Morris Waltz comes out, works hard at every single card. This is a guy who doesn't care what the fans think of him. He's not trying to win a popularity contest. He's trying to win matches, win championships, and make money. That's all he cares about in the wrestling business. That's all every wrestler should care about in the wrestling business. So I'm giving it to Morris Waltz, Wrestler of the Year. In doing so, I'm going to expect more from him next year as well. He's a developing wrestler. He's a talent in the making, but he needs to step up this year, string together more of those wins, get a shot at that title. If he gets it, I think there's every chance that whoever is champion when he steps up there might be in big trouble, because those deadly feet of Morris Waltz are going to be money for him. They already have been, but they're going to continue to be money for him in 2026. Morris, I'm giving it to you. I think you're going to take it and run with it.
Interesting pick. And the funny part is up next, I was going to ask you what the next rising star or who we should be watching out for in PPW is, but I think you just confirmed your selection there with Wrestler of the Year as well too. Because I mean, in that category, I was going to go with Riley Cruz. I mean, we've seen talking about racking up the W's. Riley has been racking up those W's, standing to the best of the best, and he went toe to toe with the champion Michael Allen Richard Clark at Season's Beatings, and also in a weird, strange turn, had all of the nation behind him, wanting to see him win the championship. So his star is rising very, very quickly. And I believe, much like Morris Waltz has a great future ahead of him, I believe that Riley Cruz does as well, too. And I see Riley Cruz heading towards that PPW championship picture very quickly.
Very much so. And once again, a fine pick for an up-and-comer as well. Riley and Morris Waltz being of the same class from the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy. I mean, there's that built-in rivalry between those two. And Riley's done absolutely awesome for himself. No question about that. He probably has a better win-loss record than Morris Waltz, who I picked as Wrestler of the Year. My only reservation about Riley is he cares what the fans think about him. He wants to be popular. That's not a bad thing. It's an understandable thing, especially for a young guy. He fears that the fans don't love him. That's fine. They do love him, but he doesn't want that to stop. And I think that he needs to get over that before he's going to rise to true greatness. Don't worry about what the fans think. Get out there and do your stuff, Riley. Do it and do it good. You'll be in that championship picture once again. It wasn't that wild in that championship match how the fans got right behind Riley Cruz, even against perennial favorite in Saskatoon, Michael Allen Richard Clark. It's truly a wild thing to see, and it's more evidence that the wrestling company's management team can think all they want and can prognosticate all they want, but they can't predict what the fans are going to feel. That's just it. You can try your booking techniques and you can try to set up the perfect matches and stuff like that, but it's the fans that make the decisions on who they like. You can't make them like someone. You can't make them hate someone. Only they can do that. So that was really an eye-opener in that match. Shows it's just testament to Riley Cruz's growing popularity, which is really just soaring in Saskatoon and some other areas around Canada and even into the States. He's really making a name for himself. And yeah, who knows, Munson? He might be Wrestler of the Year next year. He nearly was this year in my mind, but he's got to get over that feeling that of just pandering to the fans. Don't worry about it, bro. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. What's Ed got here for us? Ed says, why should he not care about the fans if it's working more than Waltz's way?
Yeah, okay, Ed, that's a decent point, but I still see the potential more in Morris Waltz because he's willing to do what it takes to win, and I think that he is going to start completely changing that win-loss record around. It's probably he's batting 250 or 500 right now. He's not knocking it out of the park at this point, but I'm saying for 2026, you watch, he's going to really turn it around. He's going to live up to that Wrestler of the Year moniker.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to cover for Prairie Pro Wrestling, Bob Smokes? Or are we moving on to the indie stuff outside? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to give out some personal Papa Smokes awards as I have given out a couple.
Let's do it.
I gave the best match to Assassino versus Clark at Ring of Horrors 4. I gave the best moment of the year, Clark spearing Assassino through the cage wall in that same match because, damn, was that a moment or what?
It was.
That had the fans completely losing their minds, not only with shock and fear when it actually happened, but like that feeling of, oh my God, was that supposed to happen? Did anyone realize that was going to happen? Was that what's going on here? Because that wall just came out, they tumbled, they knocked half that table that you and the other guys were sitting at. It was just absolute mayhem, and that was a huge moment. We've seen that's got quite a few views online and all that. Yeah, as a short, that's just a beautiful moment as well. And then I gave the tag team of the year to the Short Kings. We've talked about them already, their dominance in the scene. And then, I'm kind of going by some of the old categories that Pro Wrestling Illustrated likes to use for their year-end awards. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year, Munson. Think about this for a second. I've got mine. I'm handing mine out to none other than Phil Deadly, a guy who came back from a fairly serious injury after that hellacious choke slam by the Sheik Akbar Shabazz. Phil Deadly, not feeling too good, not feeling up to wrestling for a while after that. His neck, the back of his head taking a huge impact there. Very serious moment when that happened. The fans very concerned. Some months went by before Phil Deadly came back, but what a comeback. And he's come back not only to wrestle matches, but he's better than ever and more popular than ever amongst the fans. Phil Deadly, you can do no wrong in my eyes. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year, Uncle Phil. I love it.
I like that. Yeah, Lucha Phil Deadly, as we like to call him now,
across
the PPW Nation. After his trip through Mexico, you couldn't give it to a nicer guy in this business. So that's awesome, absolutely awesome. All right, indie wrestling outside of PPW time, I believe now. It's time to move on over.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, which one do you want to start with here? Do we want to start with what our favorite show of, or favorite promotion, favorite show? Which one should we go with first?
Yeah, whichever you want. I got it all here in my notes.
All right. I'm going to have to go. I mean, let's go favorite promotion. And I'm going to have to say this one tears me apart a little bit because one grew on me quite a bit throughout this last year, but one has been near and dear to my heart for quite some time, and it's hard to not give it to them. So despite the fact that for me, WPW Winnipeg Pro was like that close for me, it's still going to go to SPW out in New Zealand. Our friends out there, SPW, my mind can't do any wrong. I look forward to each and every one of the releases. We rework releases of Ring Respect Radio and what our plans are based on what we're doing. And you know what, Ed's got some great shout outs too. Chaotic, of course. I mean, they would be right up there for me as well too. Dreamwave and Ase Wrestling as well too, that heading to Ashford have been covered on Tuesday nights. Both fantastic promotions. Quick shout out to Basser as well too, saying Happy New Year, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you, Basser. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Pop Smokes, it's really tough because SPW, every single time something drops from them, I'm right on top of it. We've switched things around, we've moved the calendar around and everything just to make sure we can get to reviewing them as soon as possible, because it's hands down my favorite promotion to watch.
Well, that's awesome, because you and I haven't talked about this beforehand about our lists or anything. We never compared anything, but I have the same top two that you do. WPW is an awesome promotion in my opinion. We started watching it this past year. We watched 4 shows and reviewed them on the show. 3. So it's a little bit newer to us. It made a huge impression with me this year. We're going to talk about them more as we hand out accolades here too, because I really think they've got an awesome, awesome thing going in Winnipeg. We will talk about them in a second. But yes, SPW was the top indie promotion, or promotion that we covered on this podcast anyway. The main plus for me with SPW is consistency. They're consistently excellent. They never have a show that's, oh, that one was pretty okay, that one was pretty all right. No, they're all awesome. They have an excellent roster to use. They trade talent with Australia and other promotions in New Zealand. And they've also reached out to us with thanks and with friendship as well, just as PPW has been a little bit as well. That helps, of course, but SPW for me, it hit hard last year. Or was it last year that we started watching SPW, or has it even almost?
I think it's been over a year now, because we've covered a couple of the Halloween hauntings now. We've done a couple of the Southern Rumbles. So it's been a good year and a half that we've been covering their stuff at least.
So I'm very familiar with the product. I'm familiar with the roster that they have and some of the guests that they have in. For me, it's their consistency. They use excellent talent. They use some of their trainee talent that they have from their training center with quite clever effectiveness as well. Not just using them in preliminary matches, but sticking them in multi-matches, tag team matches in the middle of the card, and even towards the upper area of the card. That takes a lot of trust, and it's a gamble, right? To put your less experienced guys in some of the upper card matches. I admire them for doing that. That takes balls to do that. They also have a commitment to women's wrestling, which is cool. They have some very good lady wrestlers come through there. And like I say, they use top journeymen from Australia and other areas that come through and fill out those slots on the top part of the card very effectively. I'm thinking about Hooligan and Adam Brooks, some of those other cool guys we've seen come through. So SPW's got it all going on. They have their various belts and the drama around all those belts and the rivalries and such like that. And then they've got their feuds that have been going on. We're kind of jumping into this over the past year or two, but to see the J.K. Moody's and the K9s and all the guys that they've got that have had histories together, which they continue to kind of roll back. Yes, not to mention one of our favorites, James Shaw. They just got that. They've got the whole thing consistently planned out to making great shows, and also not to leave out the production value on their shows is excellent. The editing, the camera work, the audio, and not to forget those, they show the fans. That's a huge part of it. You get to see the fans, you get to hear a little bit of what they're saying. It adds a lot to watching a show on video or on YouTube, to get to see glimpses of the fans, glimpses of the venue, all that kind of stuff, because it's more of an immersive experience. It lets you be there with the crowd, as we all have been to many indie shows. You know that feeling. But if they let you peek in on what's going on, not just in the match, but in the whole venue, it just completes the experience for me. the consistency of SPW just has it right at the top of the indie promotions out there. And one more thing, I've probably said this before, we've looked at chaotic wrestling out of Boston as perhaps being the Cadillac of indie promotions, at least in North America. But one of the big ones of the world, they've got close ties with the large company that out of New York that I don't even want to say the name of at this point, but you all know who I'm talking about. They've got close connections there. It's a fantastic indie promotion. But SPW is on that level. Maybe not with money, maybe not with exposure and all that, but with the quality of their cards and their matches, I'd say they're every bit as good as Chaotic.
Yeah, 100%. And this is going to get interesting because when you think that you're naming your favorite promotion, that they're definitely going to have your favorite overall card of the year. But in this case, it's going the opposite direction for me. And while SPW was still my overall favorite promotion, my favorite overall card of the year is going to be Rumble in the Burt from Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. I mean, they stacked this card, Papa Smokes. They had that awesome pre-show that they put on. The Burton Cummings Theater just looked absolutely amazing for the type of show that they put on. Plus, the cast of stars that they brought to the table on this show, the matches, every single match was good, progressively got better throughout the entire night. There was interesting moments with Tony Lee Curtis, the Jack Jesus himself, coming out and having the headset on that he was calling his own commentary during the Rumble itself, while getting some very not so welcoming comments from the 1,000+ people that I believe were in the seats for this thing. This was a cool event. This was just really, really hands down a cool pro wrestling event. And to know that it's just one province over being done, the level of production, the amount of stars, the amount of commitment put into it. And again, for the people that weren't necessarily the star power brought into the show, the regular crew that is over there, phenomenal job that they do as well too, standing out even amongst these stars and being top name players in this game as well too. Rumble in the Burt had everything from top to bottom.
Yeah. You must be copying off my notes, Munson, because this is the show that I picked as my favorite of the year also. And part of that reason was just like what we were talking about with PPW and Ring of Horrors. It's going to be the big show of the year. So the promotion lets the fans know that and pumps it and sells it as the big show of the year. WPW have an excellent promotional machine. I love following them on social media because they make it sound like it is going to be the best show of the year, and it is. That's one of the beauties of it. So it made it special. Not only did they go out and get this fantastic venue, which you wouldn't think of for wrestling necessarily, but they went out and put on this show. They opened up the purse strings. They brought in some special guests, which made it all the more glitzy and glamorous in that beautiful Burton Cummings Theater, which is, we talked about in the review, a classic old building in Winnipeg, one of the most famous old buildings. When I say old building, it's not a rundown old building. It is posh as fuck. It's super nice. Marble floors, velvet tapestries, chandeliers. It's classy as all hell. And to hold an independent wrestling show there is not only amazing, but just kind of a weird contradiction almost, just to have these sweaty warriors battling it out in this old theater and opera house and music house kind of thing in Winnipeg, Manitoba, of all places. It had that special feeling. They did that hour-long pre-show. You knew that the commitment was there, that these guys, the Blair and his crew behind the mics, were going to sit down and just go over everything as the fans mill about and have a little meet and greet with the wrestlers in the back. And then various wrestlers coming over and throwing on the headset and having some words to say, answering some questions, cutting little promos before the show. Beautiful, fantastic. And then I also agree with you in the way that, yes, they spent some money, brought in the big stars, Mercedes Moné, the Good Brothers, and others. Shotzi Blackheart came to this show and would have cost money for sure. They want to treat their fans to that. They want new fans to come out. They're drawing people, 1,000 people to a independent show in a not a huge city. I mean, Winnipeg's under 1 million people. That's really good. Like that's really, really good. Can you imagine us getting 1,000 people at one of our PPW shows? It's insanity, but it can be done when you do it cleverly. And look what WPW is doing with their company. All their shows are good. They have a ton of good homegrown talent there. They trade talent with other companies. We've seen Cannonball Kelly, Levi Knight, Jody Threat, other wrestlers from other areas of Canada coming in and working effectively there. Sean Moore, Michael Allen, Richard Clark. We've seen a whole bunch of them. And I still think that their local talent and homegrown Canadian talent is sufficient to probably pull off a show this big or nearly this big. But WPW wants everyone there. So they bring in some stars, and that's going to just expand their audience, bring the people that don't normally come to WPW or local Winnipeg wrestling shows. They're going to come to this show to see the star power. They're going to see the rest of the matches and realize, damn, this is a fine company they've got here. I'm going to come to all their shows. That's what the business is all about. Reaching out to those sometimes part-time fans or casual fans, bringing them into the fold and making them full-time fans. So Rumble at the Burt, nothing but success for me. I love this show, and I'll always watch this each year now, but I will watch them all to see the build-up to the big show of the year. Well done, WPW. Love it.
Yeah, fantastic work. Got to ask Papa Smokes, do you have down both a male and female talent for best talents of the year? Okay, fantastic.
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Let's go to the women's side. Let's talk a little women's wrestling for a moment and go with our favorite performer. I got to say, like, this one, again, close for me in a sense for two completely different reasons. I'm going to say my favorite overall was Ava Lawless because we saw her across multiple companies, working multiple matches, working with many different types of opponents, and putting on some fantastic work. So I got to give it to Ava Lawless, but I got to give a major shout out to Bitter Bia Moss at the same time. We talked so highly about her work and everything that we saw from her. It's hard to say completely have her out of the picture. I wanted to give that shout out because for me, she was very, very close in that sense, but Ava had more matches that we had the chance to review, more that we saw, more of that progression of the work as well too. And holding the championship at WPW for as long as she did made it a little bit more of a clear win for me to go with Ava Lawless.
That's a fine pick, Munson. I think that's a great idea. And I had thought about Ava Lawless when I was thinking about this as well, because of her dominance and because she's just really effective as a heel out there. That the fans, they want to like her because she's good and all that, but she doesn't care about the fans and she's got that attitude about her where you know they're gonna rain booze down upon her. Bitter Bia Moss will be in that spot in the future. You know that. Yeah, she jumped out at both of us the very first time we watched WPW. She's got it. She's got it. You can teach people about the wrestling business and working and drawing money and all that stuff. I don't even think this is anything that Bia Moss has been taught. She just gets in there and lets it go, man. She's a performer. She's got it naturally, I think, that charisma, which in her case is a heel charisma, but wow, she gets the fans. She interacts with the fans in a way that gets right under their skin. But they laugh too, and they want to like her as well. But she's too nefarious as a heel and too much of a cheater and too arrogant for them to get completely behind. But I have no doubt that she'll be in Ava Lawless's position over the next year, over the next 2 years. She'll be there, no question.
Yeah.
For my pick for ladies wrestler, excuse me, I took a bit of a different slant on it this time, and this is somebody I probably never thought I'd give a clap on the back to, but bear with me and listen to my reasoning behind this.
Hmm.
I'm giving my female wrestler of the year to Shotzi Blackheart, of all
Nice.
people.
Nice.
And this is why I like that she was a talent in the big company in New York. You know who we're talking about, the biggest company in wrestling right now. And she was doing well there, but for whatever reason, she got fired and she went out on her own. So instead of crying about it, and instead of changing careers, and instead of doing something else or trying to get into something else, Shotzi Blackheart hit the indies hard because she is a name. She's very recognizable. She's got a gimmicky appearance and everything, but when I watched her last couple of matches that we've seen, one in WPW and one in MLW, I'm impressed. I kind of like her actually. She's good in the ring. She's quite serviceable as a wrestler. She's got an aura about her. She's got name power behind her. And what I like is that she left the big company. She got fired. She could have been angry. She could have turned her back on the whole thing. Instead, she decided to work hard. Now, this is kind of like a Matt Cardona situation. Same thing I think about him. I'm not really that much of a fan, but I admire what they're doing. Hit the indies hard. uh, Charge your money for any promotion to hire you, and then travel around and work with all different kinds of talent, and work with all different kinds of companies. I would think that's not easy. I would think it's way more difficult than being with two or three companies that you just consistently work for all the time. You know what to expect. You know their wrestlers. You know how to work with their wrestlers and all that. No, Shotzi Blackheart doesn't care about that. She's going to go down to West Virginia and work for MLW. She's going to come up to Winnipeg, Canada and work for WPW. She's going to go to Portland, Oregon. She's going to go to Maine. She's going to go to Florida, Texas, everywhere else. She's all over the place on the indies. It's got to be a hard life as a wrestler, working with different people, different promoters all the time. I have no question in my mind that that's a very difficult life, but it shows she's a wrestler. She's one of the boys. Of course, I'll explain myself again. By the boys, I mean the wrestlers. Everybody knows that this isn't a gender specific term. Shotzi Blackheart is one of the boys. She's a wrestler. She gets in there and does her stuff, and she's making it happen all over North America, and I'm sure some other places too. I'm not following her travel itinerary, but to me, it was impressive to see her work for indie companies over the past year, and I'm tipping the hat to her. Nice work, Shotzi. You didn't let it get you down. You went out there and you're still building your name over a bunch of different companies, and you're still getting seen by a whole bunch of different fans all across North America and anywhere else she goes.
Hell of a selection, Pop Smokes. Can't go wrong with that at all. For male wrestler of the year in the Indies, for me, this one has to go to Mortar. Mortar over at Chaotic
Yeah.
Wrestling, holding the Chaotic Wrestling Championship. Again, when we first started to see Mortar, he was good, but it wasn't quite grasping with me to the point where I would put him in this position previously. But the more we saw this year, the more, and for the same reasons you're talking about Shotzi, the more commitment to the craft, the more travel, the more he started popping up everywhere and committing to doing these different types of matches and different types of wrestling throughout, and really putting a good shine on a legacy that is the Chaotic Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Mortar has been one of the more exciting wrestlers to really step up in 2025 for me, and I got to give it to Mortar as my favorite male performer for 2025.
That's a heck of a pick, Munson, and he crossed my mind in this category as well. I've only seen his stuff in Chaotic, so I that's my bad. I haven't watched his stuff across other companies. I noticed that Ed and Astrid covered a couple of his matches in some other companies, but I have not watched that stuff yet. But that's another guy that when we started watching him a year and a bit ago, something like that, I would imagine, Bob. He has improved over that time. And he's one of those guys that when Chaotic put their main title on him, he seemed to improve yet again. I wondered about him as champion when they first booked him up in that spot. Never since then have I questioned that. He's really, really good. You can
Mhm.
see that he's kind of a humble guy as well. He doesn't. He's not out there posturing in front of the fans. He's a popular babyface and all that, but he doesn't ride that. He lets his wrestling do the talking to a large degree, and oh yeah, what a year for him! Like you got to think he's poised to move on to bigger and better things at some point too, and that would obviously be one of the big companies that's on TV. That's got to be a possibility for him as well.
Yeah, 100%. So your selection though, Pops folks, I got to hear this.
Okay, okay. For this category, I should have picked one, but it's kind of a tie for me. So, no pun intended, it's a tie for me. I went with James Shaw, who is, we're a little bit biased here because he's a
Yeah.
friend of the show and all that. But think of what that guy's done over the past year. It's been an amazing year for him with the divine light and his own personal career. He's done so well and he's entertained so well. The guy's verbally a master. He's a manipulator of all the fans and all the other wrestlers behind the curtain there. He does his stuff awesome. We've seen the improvements he's made in the gym. The guy's been working out and looking a lot better. His wrestling has improved. He's shown us a few moves that he didn't have when we first started watching him, and he's risen to the main event spot in SPW as well. So I got to give a huge shout out to our boy James Shaw.
And
Love
if
you,
I could,
James. Yes.
yeah, sorry, I was just going to pause you for a second. I know you haven't seen this clip yet, Papa Smokes, but James sent this to me personally because IPW's releases are behind time on YouTube compared to real time. And one of the matches that finished off the year is a return match between James Shaw and champion Jay Rilla. And in this matchup, you want to talk about the gym paying off. James Shaw body slams Big Jay Rilla in the matchup. The guy who hasn't been moved for years since debuting gets body slammed by our boy James Shaw. Man, he was proud of that clip, I'll tell you.
Oh, I got to see that because that's amazing. Jay Rilla is absolutely awesome and monstrously huge. And from the matches we've seen, he doesn't go off his feet. So a body slam is like, wow, that's a big deal. And Shaw, yeah, when we first talked to him, he said, I'm working my job, and then right after my job, I go and work out. This is very important to me. I don't do anything until I'm done my workout. Oh, hell yeah, that impresses me a lot. Same as the other person I picked in this spot, Tristan Ty. Again,
Nice.
a favorite of the show, a friend of ours. But look at the year that guy's had as well. He's been quietly working his trade on the indies up in the New England area with Gabriel Sky as the above the limit tag team. Those guys have had one hell of a year as a tag team up in some of those promotions in the northeast of the US. But Tristan living in Florida now, he got back. He was with MLW last year or 2 years ago, basically. And it was a splash for him. It was good. It was the biggest promotion he had worked for. They changed his name, unfortunately, and molded him into their own character, which he wasn't completely crazy about. But he did the best with the spot he had. And then they ran out of stuff for him to do and released him. We talked to him around that time. He was a little crestfallen by it because that had been his big shot. So he went back to the Indies and kept working really hard with Gabriel, with his trainer, with all the other guys on the rosters of the companies he was working for up there, and then doing stuff in Florida and other places as well. But look what happens over this past year. MLW back on the phone with him. MLW is not the biggest company in the world. They're not on the syndicated TV, anything like that. But they're one of the big indie companies. Well, I wouldn't even call them an indie company at this point. They're one of the big wrestling companies. Would you say they're the fourth or fifth biggest wrestling company in the U.S. and Canada? Probably,
Yeah.
right? We're
And
somewhere around there.
yeah, and I think we've
And
had this discussion before where it's like there's a few of them that even while you could call them arguably indie, like an MLW, because they're not on the syndicated TV like the big guys are, they're to me they're kind of like chaotics almost on that same level, right? Where it's like they're kind of indie, but they're kind of not. It still applies, but you know where it's going. They're that kind of in a middle ground almost between the big syndicated companies and the true grinding it out indie companies.
And I think over this past year or two, Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine designated MLW's heavyweight championship as a world title now. So by that magazine, at least, which holds a high standard to me as a longtime reader of it, holds some weight for me. So if you're the world champion in MLW, you can call yourself a world champion after that. Okay, that holds a lot of weight with me. But back to Tristan Ty, they call him up again, give him another chance. They've got a Contra unit going again, headed by Mads Cruel Kruger. Got a couple other guys in it, but Tristan Ty, under the name Akira Kwan, comes back, and this time they're giving him a better run. This time they've got some more creative for him, and this time they're putting more trust into him, and he's taken that ball and run with it. You can see that he's in middleweight championship picture. He's getting time on their show, on their internet show. He's one of the names now there, and they're giving him that respect. So again, kind of like Shotzi Blackheart, there's something to be said for believing in yourself, believing in hard work, and believing that you can achieve something even through the hardships. That means a lot to me because there's easy moments and good moments and triumphant moments all through life, and those are no problem. It's the hard times that make you as a person. And that's what Tristan Ty has done also. He's talented in other areas of his life. He's a very intelligent man. He's got a job. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a beautiful kid. He's got lots of reasons that could keep him from being a wrestler. Nah, that ain't happening. He's got a supportive family, and they want him to be in there and be a wrestler. And talking about training, look at that guy's body over the past year. He's
Yep.
putting on the pounds. He looks absolutely awesome. So this to me is one of the boys. This is a wrestler's wrestler. He's doing the work that's necessary. He's bettering himself. He's bettering his presentation, his ring work, and we all know he can talk. He's got those microphone skills. He's got that tough street talk that he likes to give over the microphone. It's impressive. It's impactful. So I'm giving co-honors also to Tristan Ty, not just as a friend of the show, but somebody that's gone through the hard times and gone back to what's important, achieving his goals in the wrestling business and doing great.
Fantastic show on both accounts there, Papa Smokes. Really love those selections. Because of time constraints, what we'll do is we'll give the one last main category, which is going to be our favorite match of the year, and that'll allow you to have a ground for a minute or two to give some extra shout outs if you like as well too. So for favorite matchup, indie matchup of the year, this one is going to have to go a little bit of a tie for myself. This one, I was hard pressed to pick either Ricky South versus Travis Williams, that we saw from NEW out of Vancouver there at the Final Testament show that we reviewed. It was that match, or it had to be Alexander Hammerstone versus Bear Bronson from Richard Holiday's Narcissistic Behavior, because that was a hell of a fight. Two of my absolute favorite indie wrestling matches of the entire year right there. I can't recommend either one of them enough. Absolute bangers. And they, to me, when I started thinking about it, I'm like, what matches do I really remember without having to say, okay, yeah, obviously I'm going to remember PPW matches because I'm constantly reviewing it and going through tape and everything, so they stick in my head like a sore thumb. But what were the best indie matches that I remember talking about and being excited about in those two matches, hands down? And they're two completely different matches. One is much more of a technical wrestling match, and the other one is much more of a fight between two big brutes in this business. And I loved every second of both these matches and highly recommend them. My matches of the year, tied for #1 spot.
Oh, hell yeah. Love those picks. No shame in making a tie. Especially when you can get the names of those who went above and beyond the Call of Duty to make great matches. Both awesome picks, in my opinion. For mine, I went with SPW's J.K. Moody versus K9 from the Southern Rumble. Oh, yeah, because, I mean, the fans around that area have probably seen that match a number of times throughout the years. These guys have been friends. They've been tag team partners. They've feuded against each other. It's been a long 15-year journey for those guys, traveling together and having tons of matches together. But to me, that all builds up to this grudge match that they had at SPW Southern Rumble. And man, like sometimes you get those guys who are very familiar with each other, who have had tons of matches with each other. Sometimes you get a match between two people like that looks a bit like a training match. Looks like they're just kind of screwing around a little bit and taking it easy on each other. That was not the case in this whatsoever. These two guys have such knowledge of each other and such trust that they went twice as hard on each other as they would on any other opponents. And the way SPW set up this long-standing feud, the way that the wrestlers pumped it up in their promos beforehand, this mistrust and this long-standing hate and rivalry between the two of them. I had to give this one to J.K. Moody versus K9 for just sheer excellence. Fit perfectly on the card, and boy, those two left nothing in the ring after that. It was such a banger. It's unbelievable.
A hell of a match, and it was right up there for me too, Papa Spokes. It was,
Yeah.
There was so many great matches that we saw across the companies that we covered. Some of the ones that I got to watch that you didn't, and probably vice versa throughout this year. So much great indie wrestling talent. And I know that you've probably got a few more quick shout outs that you want to do before we wrap things up. So I'm going to turn it over to you for those final shout outs, Papa Spokes.
Sure. Just quick, another category I had here for Inspirational Wrestler of the Year for the entire indie scene. I gave it to Jake Sheehan, a guy we talked to, and for the reason that he's one of the guys that I admire in the wrestling biz. Not only is he good in the ring and a great wrestler and with great presentation and all that, but he's one of the guys that gets his hands dirty, working in the back, doing all the other stuff. Munson, I don't have to convince you that this is a hard job. Doing all that stuff with the tape, the editing, the setup, the audio, the everything, any details that need to be taken care of behind the scenes of a wrestling card. He's not the main promoter. He's not a guy that's in charge of anything. But he's been one of those dudes that steps up and says, if no one's doing this, I'll learn how to do it and do it. And I'll do it good. And I'll do it without a complaint. And I'll put in my effort and my time to make this company better. It's probably not pumping his own character up any more than anybody else's. He's doing it for the boys, for the company. He's does for IPW and sometimes SPW. So another Kiwi New Zealander that I just have all the respect for in the world, getting it done behind the scenes. Jake, you're a beauty, man.
Yeah. Awesome selection, Bob Spoke. Glad you made that shout out. We are running low on time, though, so we're going to get to our shout outs here. Let the people know where they can find us and what we got coming up, starting with Bob Spokes, that beautiful expensive ticker down below.
All right, everybody. You can see me every Thursday night on Ring Respect Radio, carried by OLE Podcasts and also the Video Bros Network. If you need to contact me in any other way, I can be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I'm at smokes_papa. Also on Twitch, allegedly at least, as papa_smokes_.
That's where you find Papa Smokes. As for myself, Bobby Munson, over to the X Real Bobby Munson, Instagram and Threads is at Video Bros SK. I'm over at Twitch at Video Bro_Bobby Munson, Blue Sky Bobby Munson.bsky.social. As for what I've got coming up, of course, this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm joined by Andre C. as well as Ed, hopefully, if he's around, to do Point of View, your weekly sports review show. We're going to have more NFL predictions as well as finding out, well, I mean, we know the results of the Fantasy League football this year, but we'll talk all about it, talk about how Peggy took the league in the end, all this Sunday on Point of View. You can catch myself and Papa Smokes every Saturday for a new match from Prairie Pro Wrestling over the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. I believe this Saturday, I'm trying to remember what we got this Saturday. I believe it's tag team action this Saturday. I believe Paralera are taking on T.Y. Jackson and the Inspirational Wrestler of the Year for PPW, Mr. Phil Deadly, Lucha Phil Deadly himself. That is your match for this coming Saturday, so make sure you check that out on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. But you can also check out everything here at OLE Podcast across all social media. If you got any value out of the show here today and you haven't done so already, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up on the video, turn on notifications, and then also leave us a comment in the comment section below. What were your favorites in all of the categories that we delivered here? And also, I want to say a big thank you, Papa Smokes, not only to everybody who was live tonight, but everybody who supported over the last year, joined us live, including right here, the Mangler. Thanks, guys, for the thorough look back at the last year. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here and supporting as always. And thank you to everybody like Basser, Ed, Astrid, everybody who was in the chat here tonight joining us. We appreciate you all, and we wish you all a very happy 2026, and we look forward to more great Ring Respect radios coming at you every single week. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in a week's time.